Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to another, talk, I should say, with Express Yourself with Fern. So today I want to tackle another topic that I think is not brought up enough in people's sort of view, which is special education. And I'm really coming from an idea of special education being sort of undervalued and underpaid. My wife is currently a special ed teacher, and I've been noticing a few things that prompted me to kind of talk about it. So, special education, is, in my opinion, undervalued because it gets lost in the overall school system, but the special education teachers, the assistants, and the aides that participate in these classes with these kids, um, face difficulties, from a budget perspective. Even the employee burnout is high. I mean, these aides, these one-on-one aides, as they're called, which are basically aids that help individual kids, deal and navigate, through the everyday tasks in the classroom. I mean, they're basically paid minimum wage. So it's a difficult job, and yet somehow, it gets lost because people don't, there's no advocacy for it. Hence, I'm talking about it. So, I mean, just to give you an example, being a special education teacher is a lot more challenging than being a regular ed teacher. And just to kind of give you an idea, each student who may be, diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, known as, ASD, needs to have an IEP, which stands for Individualized Education Program. And this is quite a comprehensive plan. And I kind of looked a little bit into it, and it's basically has this. These are the core components. So you have to have a clear description of the student's current academic and functional skills. So this is one of the function of the IEP. The goals are to be annual and measurable, of course. What the student is expected to achieve during that academic year. Special education services and support. So you need, a lot of these kids have difficulty, speaking. So there's a speech therapist involved. There's an occupational therapist may be involved. Specialized instructions by the teacher. Behavioral. There's a lot of behavior problems with these kids. So there's a behavioral, therapist involved. And so here are just a couple of different people, right? There could be involved for one single student, just to make sure that that student can survive, the academic, standard that is, given to them. So again, right? Just think about this way: a regular ed student is just, he shows up to school, he does what he does or she does in classroom, then they go home. Well, a special ed student may need 3 or 4 specialists for him or her to sort of like navigate through the system. So there's a lot of people involved. Accommodations or modifications, extra time on tests. They may need extra time, right? The assignments have to be altered sometimes because those students may not be able to compete to the same standard. There's also these things called sensory breaks that they need. So think about this. I mean, this is a very high demand, high stress job for a special ed teacher and for all these specialists around it. And yet they are paid regular compensation just like every other teacher in school. And again, their stress levels, the burnout, and the expectations of them are way higher. So I thought, and one thing and I've been doing a little bit of research, and it seems like the number of children with ASD has been increasing, over the past few decades. The study shows. So, there's more kids, there's more students with ASD. Teachers, these special ed teachers are struggling to keep up, and yet the funding is not there. And I'm saying this, I see this firsthand because my wife always ends up buying, school supplies and extra materials for her classroom because there's not enough money available, to sort of like help these kids. So I thought I bring this up, because it's an important, aspect that gets lost. Again, in every school there's an autism classroom, or maybe more, that no one really talks about it. But these kids need help, to kind of make it. The teachers need help, the staff needs help, and I think it's important that we recognize that and we speak up. And let me know if you have a child on the spectrum, or anyone in your family or friends have that. I'll be curious to know, what your perspective is on that, and what kind of, education they receive from their local schools. Also, if you know any teachers, also let me know how you feel about that. Again, my wife is a teacher, is a special ed teacher, and I have firsthand examples, and I see it every day, the stress she goes through to help these kids. So anyway, like or dislike, subscribe, and let me know how you feel about special ed. Thank you.